Right now, a sentencing delay for the Madison man accused of being in possession of dangerous bomb-making materials in his West Side apartment, what the defense is now arguing.
And community leaders plan a meeting for this weekend. It's in response to a Madison teacher being placed on leave following an apparent altercation with a student.
Plus, a News 3 Now investigation. State lawmakers are drafting legislation to change Wisconsin's long-troubled DUI laws.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 6.
Thank you for joining us. Some melting going on outside today with plenty of sunshine and temperatures back above freezing.
It's pretty nice out there today, but starting tonight, things could get a little dicey once again. More precipitation. The main question now is what form will that precipitation take? And for more on that, we turn to Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti. He's on the backyard patio, our first alert forecast. Gary?
Eric and Charlotte, I think the answer to that is all of the above. We should see some snow, some sleet, some freezing rain, and rain, maybe even a couple of thunderstorms by this time tomorrow evening. Let's start out by taking a look at visible cloud track. We had plenty of sunshine for today, but the clouds are starting to thicken up, and out to the west, you can see some light snow pushing through parts of Minnesota and Iowa. Now, farther to the north and west, that will mainly be in the form of snow, but the southern end of that precipitation area, as it pushes into southern Wisconsin, could see some sleet or some freezing rain later on tonight. Winter weather advisories have been issued for all of southern Wisconsin from later tonight through the morning hours tomorrow. And then as far as the freezing rain is concerned, we could be looking up to almost a quarter of an inch of freezing rain. That could be pretty significant, at least as far as slippery roads, until temperatures get above freezing later on tomorrow. Expected snowfall mainly from tomorrow night into early Sunday morning. The heaviest amounts out toward La Crosse. There could be a pretty significant snowstorm up there. Maybe an inch here in Madison, and as much as 2 or 3 inches to our north and west. Low temperatures were chilly this morning, single digits above and below zero for the most part, but we hit a high of 35 today, so we did melt a little bit of the snow. We're back down to 29 though, and with temperatures below freezing, those temperatures will lead to the potential for some freezing rain and sleet later on. Look for those temperatures though to rise overnight into the upper 20s by early tomorrow morning. We'll get above freezing tomorrow with a high of 38 with some rain showers, maybe even a couple of thunderstorms by tomorrow evening, but we'll go back to snow on Sunday. I'll have all the details and weather in a few minutes.
All right, Gary, thank you. The fate of a man prosecutors say was planning an attack on the UW campus with dangerous chemicals is still up in the air.
31-year-old Brian Campbell was scheduled to be sentenced today. Instead, his defense is arguing Campbell's plea agreement was breached by the state. Our Madeline O'Neill tells us what the judge had to say.
Campbell was supposed to learn his future here at the courthouse today. Instead, a judge decided at a motion hearing whether prosecutors went too far in their arguments before sentencing.
The objection you filed on behalf of the defendant to the state sentencing memorandum.
A day before sentencing, Brian Campbell's defense filed an objection arguing that prosecutors breached his plea agreement in their sentencing memorandum. That memorandum from the state argues Campbell held a grudge against UW-Madison after being banned from campus and was planning an attack with explosives made from chemicals and items found in his apartment. Campbell's attorney says that went above and beyond the facts in the case, including when the state compared Campbell to domestic terrorists.
It seems to me that this entire case started out initially as an enormous overreaction because there was so much fear for what might have been going on, and that the state has been unable to come to terms with the factual information that exists in that regard.
Prosecutors say any inferences were rooted in facts.
It's evident to me that the defense does not want me to talk about the facts in this case that reflect negatively on the defendant. I don't blame them for that. The defense attorney is the defendant's advocate. But I have a right to talk about those facts just as much as the defense has a right to talk about the facts that reflect positively on the defendant.
The judge did ask Campbell if he'd like to withdraw from the plea agreement, which he and his attorney declined. But she did side with prosecutors, agreeing to keep the state's sentencing memorandum on the record.
I think it would be fair to characterize some of the state's arguments in that respect as speculative or hyperbolic, but I do see those as argument.
Prosecutors say they plan to ask that Campbell go to prison for 3 years. That's the maximum he can, according to his plea agreement. They're also asking for 8 years extended supervision. We'll find out what happens on May 13th when his sentencing hearing is rescheduled. Reporting in Madison, Madeline O'Neill, News 3 Now.
And we now know the name of the second person killed in that semi-crash on Sunday morning when a truck plunged off a bridge into Mirror Lake in Wisconsin Dells. She's been identified as 24-year-old Devina Patterson of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. She was pulled from the frozen lake Monday. Dive teams also recovered another person the same day it happened. He was identified earlier this week as 39-year-old Timothy Green, also of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Black community leaders are coming together this weekend to host a community meeting to talk about ways to support families in our area.
This is in response to an incident involving a Madison student and a behavior support coach last week. Rose Schmidt is here to explain their message. Rose?
That's right. Well, the Madison Metropolitan School District confirms that the administrator involved won't return to Whitehorse Middle School or be in a similar position. And as the district figures out its next steps, community leaders are taking action of their own. What started out as an incident at Whitehorse Middle School,
it was unbelievable that it escalated in that way,
has turned into a much larger discussion, with community leaders asking the big questions.
How do we best support kids as they go through these issues?
An 11-year-old girl says her braids were torn out of her head and she was pushed by Rob Muller-Owens, who was acting principal at the time. Video of this incident has not yet been released, and the district has not said whether they've substantiated the girl's claims. Now Michael Johnson and Sabrina Madison are getting phone calls, emails, social media messages, you name it, from concerned parents.
So I'd say we look at this, make it a teachable moment, and then talk about how do we put the right protocols and policies in place so it doesn't happen again.
That's why they're hosting a community meeting to talk about racial issues children in the community are facing. Multiple Madison teachers have been removed from classrooms in recent months for using racial slurs.
if we have instance, one can only come to the conclusion that there's an unhealthy relationship between staff and students, and primarily students of color.
The superintendent of the Madison Metropolitan School District sent a letter to parents to say that all students should feel safe and protected in their schools. In a statement to us, district officials said they're determining the next steps, and their team is coming together to create a full support plan to ensure students' safety. Madison police are still investigating this incident, and the Madison Teachers Union says it supports investigating allegations made against school district employees, but they're also asking people to withhold judgment until that investigation is complete. And the local advocacy group Freedom Inc. plans to rally at the school board meeting Monday to push for more action.
Rose Schmidt reporting tonight. Rose, thank you.
Federal authorities say 5 people have been indicted for allegedly cutting down trees on the Menominee Indian Reservation in order to sell timber to sawmills without consent from the tribe. The 5 people ages 30 to 49 have been charged with conspiracy. Prosecutors say the suspects cut down those trees without permission on at least 100 occasions. The sawmills allegedly paid about $400,000 between 2012 and 2018 for that timber. Damage estimates are about $140,000 after a barn fire. This happened in Monticello last night. First reported just before 7 p.m. This was on a property on Krieger Road. The scene cleared about 4 hours later, but the barn was destroyed. No animals were inside at the time, but it was storing a car, ATVs, tools, and lawnmowers. Fire chief there says the cause of the fire appears to be electrical.
A tragedy is prompting a possible change to drunk driving laws in our state. The proposed law would make it tougher for drivers to reoffend in a 24-hour period. Keely Arthur is here to explain.
Well, News 3 Now Investigates first brought you this story of Jennifer Kilburn last year. The Kenosha woman was injured by a drunk driver who had been arrested and then released earlier that same night. Now, State Representative Samantha Kirkman is drafting legislation that could protect others from a similar fate.
Right now, as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about Jennifer and how her life has completely changed.
We first introduced you to Jennifer Kilburn last December when the Kenosha nurse was still healing following an August 9th crash.
My thigh bone went right through my pelvis.
On her way to work early Thursday morning, she was hit by Jesse Liddell.
You are under arrest, okay, for OWI.
A man who had already been taken into police custody earlier that night for driving while intoxicated.
Everybody was like, wait, what?
It tugged at my heartstrings.
In our state, drunken driving offenders can be released to a responsible party if it's their first or second offense. But after his mother took him home, Liddell quickly went back out on the road.
I wish he would have truly that night would have made a different choice and went home and slept it off. we wouldn't be talking about this today.
Republican State Representative Samantha Kirkman, who represents Salem Lakes, now wants to take choice out of the matter. She and fellow Republican Representative Jim Ott of Mequon have drafted legislation that would prevent suspects from being released to a third party while still intoxicated.
Because sitting in a jail cell isn't a very fun place to be, and hopefully we'll kind of scare somebody into not wanting to do it again.
I hate just sitting.
Back in December, Nurse Kilburn told us more than anything, she wants to prevent her pain from happening to somebody else.
There's a reason that I'm still here. I still have a purpose.
And now, just a few months later, she's helping do just that.
Whatever I do and however I change the statutes isn't going to impact her case, because we can't go back retroactively. But going forward, can I make a change? And I think that's really what's important here.
The legislation is drafted but needs to go through the committee process first, and then will have to go to the governor's desk for his signature before becoming law.
Keely Arthur reporting. Keely, thank you. Still ahead tonight, a new so-called challenge making its way around social media has police sending out a precautionary message.
Plus, a local teacher wins a national award referred to as the Oscars of teaching. You're watching News 3 Now at 6. From kids eating Tide Pods and teens driving blindfolded, there's now a new challenge making the rounds on social media.
It's called the 48-hour challenge, and although it isn't widespread in our area yet, the Sheriff's Department is concerned it could soon catch on. The challenge encourages teens to go missing for up to 2 days at a time and awards points for every social media mention they get during that time. The Dane County Sheriff's Department is concerned because it takes every missing persons report seriously.
The Sheriff's Office, when somebody's reported missing, especially a juvenile, we put every resource we have into searching for that person. If it's not a legitimate situation, then we're using a lot of resources that could be used elsewhere.
Another concern law enforcement has is where these kids are going during those 48 hours, possibly putting themselves or others in danger during that time. Officials we spoke with say the main concern is that because it's spreading on social media, if it comes here, it could spread rather quickly.
A local teacher from Monroe is being recognized today for her outstanding work.
Sarah Compton, a 5th grade teacher at Northside Elementary School, is one of just 33 teachers in the entire country to be given the Milken Educator Award this year. It has been referred to as the Oscars of teaching. During a surprise ceremony this morning, along with the award itself, she was given $25,000.
Can't say that I'm better than other teachers because I really am surrounded by the best here. I think the only thing I can say about myself is I truly try to be the best that I can be every day, every week, every year.
The Milken Educator Awards was created in 1987, and it recognizes teaching excellence publicly, not only to inspire educators, but students and entire communities about the importance of joining the teaching profession. There is more to come tonight on News 3. Coming up in sports, we have highlights and scores from state wrestling quarterfinals from the Kohl Center.
But first, a messy weekend storm system bearing down on southern Wisconsin. Your full forecast coming up next. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joining us from the backyard patio with the latest on what we can expect this weekend, Gary.
It's pretty quiet out here right now, but the clouds have moved in, and there's snow not too far out to the west of us that will start mixing with sleet and freezing rain later on tonight. As we start out by taking a look at alert days that are in the forecast. Right now, we have alert days in the forecast for late tonight into tomorrow morning for some light snow, sleet, and freezing rain that could bring up to a quarter inch of ice accumulation. And then another alert day from late tomorrow night into Sunday for some snow that will continue into early Sunday morning. Might see 1 to 3 inches of snow at the heaviest amounts up farther to our north and to our west, but it'll become very windy with winds gusting to over 40 miles per hour, or even 45 miles per hour at times. And roads can become very slippery because temperatures will drop below freezing, and because of the rain that we'll see during the day tomorrow, those roads could get icy as the temperatures drop. On Doppler track, no precipitation across southern Wisconsin, but it's not too far out to the west of us. The leading edge of that not yet reaching the ground, but some snow that eventually will start shifting over to some sleet and freezing rain on the southern edge of that precipitation area heading in our direction. Blizzard warnings are in effect from parts of eastern Nebraska and western Iowa into much of southern Minnesota for later tomorrow into tomorrow night and Sunday. That's where the heavy snow will be. We've got winter weather advisories here for some sleet and freezing rain, mainly through tomorrow morning. Winter storm warnings are in effect up toward the Eau Claire area. As far as ice accumulations are concerned, probably around a tenth to a quarter of an inch of ice accumulation across much of southern Wisconsin, but you can clearly see The heaviest snows will fall to our north and west, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to maybe as much as 14 or 15 inches in a narrow band from eastern Nebraska and western Iowa through southeastern Minnesota and into northwestern Wisconsin. There also is a high wind watch for Sunday into Sunday night for eastern Iowa and northern Illinois for winds that could gust over 50 miles per hour times. So, in fact, as we take a look at the wind gust future track beginning at midnight early Sunday morning, watch how these strong winds sweep over much of southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and eastern Iowa. The winds gusting in the 35 to 45 mile per hour range, with some areas seeing wind gusts over 50 miles per hour at times. Live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison. Skies are mostly cloudy right now. As we check out the almanac for today, the high today 35 after starting out at 6 degrees, and right now we're back down to 29 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Winds are out of the northeast at 6 miles per hour. Weather track showing the storm in two parts: rain to the south, snow to the north and west, and in between, not much in the way of precipitation, but that's where the freezing rain, sleet, and eventually rain will start to develop, as temperatures are right around the freezing mark just to our south. They're very mild down toward the Ohio River and much colder to our north and to our west. So winter weather advisories are in effect from late tonight through tomorrow morning for all of southern Wisconsin. For tonight, look for a low temperature of 24 this evening. Then temperatures start to rise as that light snow and freezing rain starts to develop later on tonight. Tomorrow, the light freezing rain and snow in the morning will change over to just rain showers in the afternoon as the high temperature gets up to 38. So on future track, you can see that precipitation arriving late tonight in a mixed form: sleet, freezing rain, some rain and snow, but that'll eventually change over to just light rain showers as temperatures get above freezing. Could even see a couple of thunderstorms tomorrow evening before everything changes back to snow late tomorrow night into Sunday. By that time, most of the heavier precipitation will have shifted to the north and east, so that'll limit our snowfall amounts here. As far as snowfall or freezing rain amounts, again, around 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain and maybe around 1 inch of snow in Madison. Heavier amounts to the north and west, much heavier up toward La Crosse. 10-day forecast, though, temperatures will stay cold. Look for some snow chances Tuesday, Friday, and then Monday of the following week.
They're down to the semifinals at the state wrestling tournament, and some big names make it through this afternoon. The story's coming up in sports. WIA State Individual Wrestling continues. 336 wrestlers still looking to be on top of the podium tomorrow night. Division 2 and 3 quarterfinals this afternoon. If you win, you earn a spot in the semifinal matches tonight. We start at 145 pounds in Division 3. Mineral Point looks for its 52nd individual state champ. Logan Schmitz gets the takedown. He picks up the 9-4 decision. 182 pounds, Division 2. River Valley Shane Legal looking to capture his third straight championship. He works quickly, gets the first period pin. 182 pounds, Division 3. Chase Beinborn of Boscobel gets the takedown late in the third and solidifies his spot in the semis tonight. And Caden Straka, the 195-pounder from Lancaster, with a takedown in Division 3. He wins 8-3, and he too advances. The number 1 ranked wrestler in Division 3 at 220 pounds is Iowa Grant Highlands' Drew Hennessy. He gets the cradle. He gets the pin in the second period. Semifinals start at 7 tonight at the Kohl Center. Badger hockey this weekend. The men's team has already started its game against Penn State, and it's the Nittany Lions leading 2-0 after the first period. Badger women's hockey team home this weekend. Game 1 against Ohio State faces off at LeBon at 7 o'clock tonight. Badger men's basketball heading to Evanston, Illinois for a game against Northwestern tomorrow night at 7:30. Believe it or not, we're down to the final 5 games of the regular season, only 2 more at home. That means the fantastic Badger career of Ethan Happ is coming to a close. Sure, he was benched at the end of the Illinois game Monday, but he'll still finish near the top of most every statistical category at Wisconsin.
I remember talking to reporters at the beginning of the year about, my final season, how fast it's going to go, and, it's came and it's been going. So it's been, up and down season, obviously, but I'm excited for this, final stretch.
The Brewers play their first spring training game tomorrow afternoon at 2 against the Chicago Cubs in Mesa, Arizona. With a new training facility and the bounce of a very successful 2018 season, the Brewers are talking big for the 2019 season. How big? Well, how about winning it all big?
I mean, we got everything. We got everything for go to the World Series. I mean, we got pitcher, we got hitter, we got defense. I mean, if you will put all that stuff, all that kind of small team together, we can go to the World Series for sure.
Tuesday night, the WIA boys basketball tournament begins. We'll have our final Prep Mania game of the week, a Division 3 matchup in Lodi as the Blue Devils host River Valley. We're live with the game on channel3000.com, 7 o'clock Tuesday night. College basketball, Tulane at Memphis. During a timeout, a fan gets a chance to win a year of free haircuts if he makes a half-court shot. Well, he missed that one, but we wouldn't show it to you unless he made the next one, right? Free haircuts for a year. He got so excited he went to the Memphis huddle to get a high five from an assistant coach, and then security jumped in and said, get out of here. And at the WGC Mexico Championship, Tiger Woods making a move. Now, this birdie putt will go in, but watch the reaction of the fan watching at the side of the green. Little Tiger is so happy. Big Tiger is tied for 7th, 6 shots behind the leader, Dustin Johnson, halfway through the Mexico Championship in Mexico City.
That is great.
That's darling.
Cute little fan.
How about that?
Too young to remember when he was really good, though. Yeah. Gary, final check?
Yeah, we're watching some snow out to the west of us. Probably won't reach us until late tonight. There could be some freezing rain mixed in, though. Temperatures are falling below freezing in most areas, so we have winter weather advisories later tonight into tomorrow morning for about a quarter of an inch of freezing rain and maybe an inch or 2 of snow late Saturday night and Sunday.
Thanks for joining us for News 3 6. Now at 6.
Enjoy your evening. We'll see you back here at 10.